After my spiritual awakening intensified, I went through a period of isolation. I had no friends, no family around, and was completely alone. It wasn't on purpose or I didn't prompt it, but it almost felt like the divine was isolating me. During that time, I was mostly happy and blissful, but when I thought about the fact that I was completely alone, I wondered whether there was something wrong with me. Am I antisocial? Am I always going to be alone? Can I fit in and feel belonged in the world? Like, ever? So, if you're going through something like that and you find yourself being isolated, I want to reassure you that no, there's nothing wrong with you. One big reason why you're being isolated by the divine is because the surrounding environment is too harsh for your new sensitivity. After my spiritual awakening, my senses became really sensitive, at times too sensitive. I started to feel more intensely, to a point where I could feel subtle energetic shifts in the air, energetic impressions that certain places hold, and the overall energy of people, and so on. It's not just your sixth sense that gets more sensitive, but your other senses get sensitive too, because your physical body changes to reflect your inner changes. For example, you might become intolerant towards certain food and gravitate toward eating foods that still have life in them, like vegetables, because that's what you crave and that's what your cells crave. For me, I couldn't tolerate coffee anymore when I used to love drinking coffee. The caffeine in the coffee felt really aggressive to my body. Also, for a while, I couldn't eat certain meats and milk. It had a denseness to it that depleted my energy. I also became sensitive to preservatives and chemicals, so most of the junk food lost their appeal. Your eyes start to get sensitive too. You see little sparks or lights when there's an entity like spirit or what have you, or ringing in just one of the ears when there's an energetic shift. And you see repeating numbers because you're sensitive to the universal synchronicities. Anyway, I'm saying all this to say that when you go through an awakening, you become very sensitive, which also means that you become easily exhausted and tired by the overwhelming sensory stimulations. And because of your increased sensitivity, the surrounding environment can feel too harsh. Remember, layers have been peeled off of your consciousness, so you're not so dense or thick-skinned as you used to be. For me, there were times I spent days isolated in my room with the blinds closed because I couldn't tolerate the overwhelming sensations, and I was only too happy to spend time alone quietly. The outside just got too much, too aggressive, and I needed the sensory deprivation to center and come back to myself. And it doesn't help that a lot of people around us are still dense because they haven't gone through a spiritual awakening yet. The level of chaos, drama, and general unconsciousness they can tolerate is much, much higher than what you can tolerate anymore. So they might just be living their lives, being themselves, and playing out the drama that's going on in their lives when it just might be too much for you to handle. So you'll find yourself wanting to isolate because it's too much, too energetically exhausting for your sensitivity. But eventually, you'll learn how to center yourself and radiate your energy wherever you go, no matter how crowded or chaotic the environment. But until then, it might be kindness to yourself to be slightly removed. So if you're in an isolated phase with no friend or family around, I would say don't worry too much because it might be a blessing in disguise. Regards, Ray.